Hello and welcome to the 2019 Summer Split of LCS Academy as we dive into Week 5. I am Julian Pastry Time Carr, returning to the caster desk alongside Alberto Crumbs Rangufo. Crumbs, how was Canada Day?
It was great. Thank you for asking. Yes, no 4th of July for me. I went up to Vancouver, spent some time with the family there. July 1st, if you didn't know, is Canada Day, so...
Now everyone knows. First up, we've got some interesting rosters today, so let's dive into all the changes. First things first, Mike Young has been traded to Echo Fox, so Odd Orange is now in for TLA.
Yeah, congratulations to him, finally getting that LCS promotion, but his seat is being filled by Odd Orange. This is not a stranger to the scene, having had some previous time playing on Academy. He was currently on Radiance, where he moved up to Team Liquid Academy, so he does have some pretty big shoes to fill when it comes to TLA synergies with Matt and previously Mike Young, so it's going to take him some time to slot right on in, but hey, he's a young mechanical player. I look forward to see what he can do.
Yeah, always rough to change teams mid-season, but that's where they are right now. Demonte, though, is in for Clutch, which is a bit of a head-scratcher, to be honest.
Yeah, this was a bit of a shock as well. I think it's mostly Clutch Gaming just trying to see what DeMonte can do. You put him in the academy. All right, what can you do here? Can you hard carry a team that needs some wins and then hopefully take that back to the LCS tomorrow, because both squads really need those Ws.
And of course, FLICKR will be in for Cloud9. This one, I think, a lot less surprising. Cloud9 just continuing to kind of use the 6-man roster.
Pretty much. It's FLICKR. He's always great in the jungle. If he goes into Academy, it doesn't mean a whole lot. You know, Blabber does play every once in a while in LCS. So first event to have some time here, hey, you know, give him a little bit extra practice, because Cloud9, I'm sure they're not too thrilled with how Rift Rivals went for them.
Have to think so. And last but not least, this one will be interesting. Deftly and Ole have been subbed in for Golden Guardians. And we did get official word from the team. They tweeted out about half an hour before the match has started today that they have been trying both bot lanes in scrim, so they will be mixing things around. And FBI and Huhi did play yesterday in Academy.
That is very exciting, because that probably means that the winners of whoever does best in Academy means they'll get to play on the LCS stage. So Golden Guardians really trying new things out for their LCS slot as well as their Academy team. So keeping things fresh, making sure that they take those lessons from Rift Rivals of just be explosive to heart.
Well, teams returned to the week with Echo Fox and Golden Guardians facing off to break their tie and move into the top 4. We'll have a look at how the game unfolded. Again, they were tied, but GTS did eventually eke out the win.
Yeah, and this was an engage with the Gragas into the Rumble, which, yeah, it goes well, nice. And I think they couldn't get out of at this point, but you got Vladimir trying to take one down for the team, flashing in. It's hit with the bind, but at least you pick up the kill on the Kalista at the very tail end. So it's something. It's not enough for them, though, because as you say, Golden Guardians ends up walking away with the victory, and they're not even able to take down the Kalista out of the initial engage. So when that goes wrong, you know that the fight's probably lost.
Well, it's a tough one from there. Again, Yasui continuing to try and do work throughout this game, but Huhi and FBI continuing to show up and have good games. This next bind in particular that I think is coming up will kind of showcase why Lucksmiths are powerful. Never mind, that's one we saw earlier. But again, Huhi, it makes sense with, I think, Enchanters and the like coming down into the bot lane that his swap from mid to support, I feel like he couldn't have picked a better time, because there are so many different things you can be playing in those lanes.
It really is. It's the resurgence of Huhi, and the greatest thing about it is no one has any expectations about this bottom lane. It's Huhi and FBI, people that you've never really seen before in NA. You haven't seen FBI. You have, but not the player.
Yeah.
And Huhi, well, he's been a mid laner all his life. So playing support, you just have no idea what to expect besides, oh, I guess he's going to support his team like he did in mid lane.
Yeah.
So they have a lot of opportunity to pop off and experiment, because their champion pools are not defined either. So it's very easy for them to be flexible and take those advantages while in the draft.
Well, Optic also had a chance to keep themselves in the top 4 conversation going up against a shaky FlyQuest, but FlyQuest did manage to come out with a win finally.
Yeah, we were kind of shocked that FlyQuest, the team that was struggling the most in our Academy series, was actually able to walk away with the win. And while you can look at the Pyke jungle from Optic as a point of conversation, it's not why they lost this fight. That snowballed everything. They were out of position. The gold was dead even right before that. So still Optic plagued by communication errors, but other than that, this is a pretty good game. A lot of creativity in the champion select, and you even have the Kai'Sa popping off using that ultimate very well. And when the Aatrox gets the reset, you know that the fight is over. You gotta run. He turns huge, literally.
Yeah, just picked a really good straightforward comp, I think, and then Eri and the mid laner turned in some really good performances at Strumpist, of course. Yesterday's games, though, resulted in the standings you see here. So after all the action we've seen, we have Cloud9 Academy and TSM still tied for first place, followed by another tie for third this time around between TLA and Golden Guardians. We have Optic Gaming and Echo Fox Academy who'll be sharing fifth place, and they have 100 Thieves right behind them. So hopefully some of these teams can break away for sole possession of those top spots today, as we'll start with TSM Academy and 100 Thieves facing off in Game 1, with Team Liquid Academy and Cloud9 clashing in the third. And last but not least, Clutch Gaming take on Counter Logic Gaming Academy to wrap up the day. So that Game 1 has TSM Academy facing off against 100 Thieves, who are finally picking up some much-needed wins.
And as you can tell by that list of all the standings, the reworks of LCS teams and academies have been working very, very well, because the teams that do well in LCS just so happen that their academy teams are also doing very well. So clearly we're starting to see that the academy team's practice regimen is a testament to how well their LCS teams and vice versa. So I'm really looking forward to specifically what 100 Thieves have in store today, because Soligo was the man in the mid lane that was put in charge to replace Huhi. It didn't work out. He's now back into Academy, but he's up against a Blaze Olive, a guy that's been a linchpin for TSM in the mid lane, always busting out that Azir. And as we know right now, it's not just a matter of 1v1s. It's a matter of how can your jungler affect your lane. And so Anda in 100 Thieves, who was brought down to Academy as a struggling player, has found his footing again. He's resurgence. He's been having such a good series in every time that he plays. And so if he can team up with a Soligo and really put the dent into TSM, it's going to go a very long ways for 100 Thieves, because they need all the confidence they can get to make sure that it goes well in Academy and then into the LCS.
Now, we'll see if they can keep stringing together those wins. Let's meet the teams, however. Starting on the blue side, it is 100 Thieves Academy. In the top lane, Someday. In the jungle, Anda. In mid lane, Soligo. In bot and support, it's Prismal and Stunt. And of course, their coach, Kelsey Moser.
And selecting the red side for Game 1, it's TSM Academy. Brandini in the top lane, Spica in the jungle, a Blaze Olive playing mid. Bot lane filled out by Tactical, his support is Treats, and their coach, Peter.
Now, again, we took some time off with the Rift Rivals week.
Sadly.
Not get to see every team's play, but already back in Academy, and I've been enjoying some of the champ selects we've seen. We've seen multiple LeBlanc picks from both, I believe, Golden Glue and a Blaze Olive. We've seen more than one Yasuo Gragas, but this time it's been in the bot lane. So even though we're still on 9-12, it does feel like the teams are starting to realize that there's a lot of options you can take in draft right now.
They love to experiment. Academy is the place where you watch explosiveness, where you watch creativity, where players are willing to take risks, because playing those risky champions, those risky playstyles, is what gets you noticed, is what allows you to then move up to the LCS. You don't have to worry about, am I going to lose my job or get replaced? No, it's a matter of getting that in the first place. So we get to see the first few bans coming out, and Twisted Fate, first ban, 100 Thieves. That's a pick that was kind of brought to NA by Crown, and all of a sudden everyone's playing it. And it's not even the same style that Crown was playing. It was AP. It's the ADTF that's everywhere now.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen that a ton. Bjergsen's played it, Blaze Olive has also played it in Academy, so clearly learning from each other there. Aurelia and Sona go with Yumi, Karma, and Sejuani. So I would say 6 relatively standard bans, given what we've been seeing recently, and Aatrox a very standard first pick as well.
And I want to see the Aatrox be really flexed now. If there's anything we learned from Rift Rivals, is try to get ahead from the very get-go, and that's not minute 1. That's the draft. So can you come out with an advantage in the draft? And the question is, well, if you lock in that Aatrox very early and you're not willing to flex it, it's very obvious for TSM where it's going. It's going to be going Aatrox top. So it's a matter of making sure that the Aatrox stays hidden all the way through. Is it jungle? Is it mid? Is it top? At least having multiple roles means that TSM has to draft safer and safer every time. And locking away Jarvan Saver, while it is a very safe combination, it's a filthy good one, because those two have great synergy, and on top of it, Jarvan is kind of a counter to Sivir. So you get rid of one of the hardest to deal with junglers, and you pair it with a sick engage.
Well, this is a direction here that I didn't quite expect. At least here for Anda makes sense. He's had a successful game in recent weeks as well. But Azir here for Soligo, so taking it away from a Blaze Olive, but maybe not the style we would have expected. I think TSM Academy have played pretty slow, all things considered. They're very safe, they're very consistent, and they're pretty methodical as a team, where 100 Thieves have struggled to find that identity, but at least in this game are deciding to stick with something a little bit more late game, at least from the mid lane.
So the Azir is going to be really nice against Sivir, a short-range AD carry. Having to run straight at you with that kind of engage is not the very greatest against Azir. You can always get out, use the wall to displace you. However, the answer of Corki, something we saw from Fnatic into, I believe it was Team Liquid, where the Corki does really well into Azir. You can farm it out, hit that late game, and if the TSM composition goes late, you got a Sivir and a Corki with a Jarvan to not only peel, but offer a really high attack speed steroid, buffing those AD carries even further. So the DPS already of this composition is nutty, and 100 Thieves, by locking away the Elise, is saying we're doubling down early game. The Aatrox and the Elise combination is where they're going to be going to, so a lot of top lane focus. However, focusing your early game, so your top lane so early, means that TSM knows exactly what's coming, and they have last pick, so they can opt into a safer matchup.
Yeah, can kind of set things up here for Brandini. We'll see what happens in phase 2, but 2 bot lane bans on the TSM side. Yasuo and Xayah will both hit the bin.
Wow.
And GP and Nah, the top lane bans from 100 Thieves.
So they banned out the Yasuo, thinking that there was still an opportunity for Yasuo Gragas bottom lane, which is true, right? You got a Azir wall, you got Aatrox to knock up, so that would have actually been really, really cool.
TSM won with it yesterday. They're like, yeah, we know how good this is. We're not giving that away.
I'm loving that evolution in picks. If 100 Thieves had the plan of going for that, man, like, they've got some cool drafts.
I like that the Cloud9 Academy special has just kind of become ubiquitous now. I feel like people are trying to jam Yasuo Gragas into just about every
works.
they can. It does. You keep saying that you won with it years ago.
Yeah, listen, if I could win with it, anyone can win with it.
All right, there's Shen actually picked up for TSM Academy. Not a champion we see too often, and does seem to be going top lane there for Brandini. We'll have Ezreal locked in there for Prismal, so keeping things pretty straightforward in the bot lane, and maybe Braum to join there for Stunt. Yeah, there is Braum locked in.
So Braum Elise is a really strong jungle duo combination because Elise can turn to range for him and start proccing those autos from Braum's passive, get your extra CC, chain them together, lots of damage, so very powerful. But when you pair it with the Ezreal, you don't have that much damage down there early on. And when you're up against a Sivir, that's going to be so easy for her to spell shield all those abilities. It's really hard for you to get that fight going. So I'm looking forward to a lot of action around top and mid lane this game, and not so much in the bottom, just because the nature of the champions to disengage is so effective.
Seems to make sense with how the teams want to play as well. Seen a lot of mid jungle from TSM Academy, both this split and last split when Greg was on the side, and we are kind of expecting Ander to be the one player to really get the early game going for 100 Thieves. And with a champion like Elise, if you don't get stuff done in the opening minutes of the game,
useless.
You pick the wrong champion.
Yeah, you go from a Black Widow to a House Spider. You're like, that's whatever. It'll die in a few days.
Just on its own.
Yeah.
35 minutes and
right.
rolls over and dies. All right, let's see what happens here as week 5 of Academy. TSM looking to stay on top. Remember, they are tied with Cloud9 currently in the standings and have kind of been battling for that first position all split long. 100 Thieves with recent wins looking to chain a few more together and keep their spots towards the playoffs that much better looking.
And I bet they'll be scrambling to try to make a gun for first place, considering that Team Liquid now has a different jungler. They'll be safe to assume that they're going to be slightly weaker to begin with. So if you can pull ahead here in these early weeks while they adjust, you can secure that early spot, maybe get yourself a buy. Nice buy.
Yeah, it certainly feels like all of a sudden the 4-3 spots have opened up a lot here in the league. So we'll see what happens again. Just about halfway through the split. Little invade there from 100 Thieves with the Braum, but just checking and maybe getting some vision down, although it doesn't look like they've dropped any wards just yet. But always good to try and invade level 1 with the Braum because he just applies so much pressure with the passive.
No coordinated engage. They might go for a... Oh yeah, here we go. Late invade onto the Jarvan using that sweeper. Smart swap.
Yeah, Speaker actually all alone right now is now going to spot the Aatrox, but thankfully for him, no wraparound there. They will sweep away the ward. That is going to force Speaker off the red buff. And it is going to roam down, puts out the Spiderling, treats up to try and protect him. And I don't think they should be sticking around. It's currently a 2v3, or make it 3v3 as Brandini going to roam down as well. Red buff at about 50% HP. And actually will force 100 Thieves away.
The supports are still here, and I think that because they're both around, they're not going to have a problem just contesting this over and over. It looks like Spica's made the right move and decided to start moving out of that as quickly as possible, and I have to agree. If you just sit there and waste time, you're really missing out on a lot of your early game, and you've got a support that has a teleport. He can afford to do this, so I think the TSM Academy made the right choice. And it's not like Spica is likely to miss out on his second buff. I think he's about to go for that red buff, so he's not going to get 3 camped because at least his level 2 is just so darn weak.
Gonna get spotted as well, though. Nice ward there in the pixel from 100 Thieves. So, I mean, this was predicted, but at least now they'll get absolute information that Spica is jungling down towards this red. In fact, Stunt's even gonna walk over and get it warded out as well, just to get a bit of extra vision. And Spica is taking too long to try and take this buff at the moment.
He was very smart. He waited for the laners to ping out that it was safe, because you saw that the second that he walked over that ward, Braum went over the tribe ward and it was pinged out by the bottom lane that he was going to be collapsed on. So had he started that buff, Stunt would have found him, and he likely would have had to either get out or die or even burn a flash. So it was really wise of him to wait that out, because now, okay, yeah, you're 6 little minions behind to the Elise, but you secured both your camps, you're strong enough to gank, and you get yourself a little scuttle crab as well, so it's all good.
Brandini, that's a solo kill! Just taunts him under the turret someday, what are you doing?
Oh my god, that is disaster. That is so bad.
Just forget what
he's gonna try
does.
to TP. They're gonna try to dive him? Okay, Brandini still has flash and another taunt.
Blaze Olive maybe can make it up here. Another really good taunt onto the Elise, and it's going to repel out of the way. Brandini looking to go down, but he levels up. He gains a bit of extra health, and now Someday forced to flash away. They finally get the kill, but that cost them so much.
That was so close, and Brandini's going to be able to TP back. He's not going to miss out on too many, maybe 3 creeps on that, but boy, that was a bit of a misplay from Someday, wanting to push that lane out to entice Elise to go for the tower dive, but Brandini outplayed it, saw the opportunity for the taunt, hits him under tower, and gets a nice little first blood.
And that's all the information Spica needs to roam over and try and take the Raptors here, but just watch this again. Someday just too far forward here.
So he hits him, takes his first shot, and then, yeah, here it comes. 1, 2, 3 tower shots. That'll do it at level 3.
And then the regank here, I mean, I think they have to commit, because at this point you need to get this kill. Good stun there from Ando, but Brandini does what he can to try and get out.
I think if Brandini actually flashed forward, he flashed the cocoon, then taunt, he would have gotten a double kill right there. Because the cocoon is really what did him in.
Yeah, as soon as you're stunned by Elise, you're pretty much dead in most tower dives.
Yeah, but man, he was close to really having it there. And the reason why that's a big deal is because in Champ Select, we were just talking about how the top lane was going to be the focus for 100 Thieves. They need to snowball this matchup because the bottom lane has already bled 1 played out. The Sivers going to continue to shove that lane in, so they need to get as much as possible from the top lane in order to mitigate what they're losing bottom.
Ando actually might be trying to dive here in mid. Blaze Olive, not that much health to speak of. Does have fleet footwork, but taking harassment under the tower now. He's going to get that last little minion and try and take a recall, but that one's going to be cancelled. Might be worth. Flash Cocoon, Blaze Olive does Valkyrie away.
Oh, that was sad, actually. You wanted to see him throw it blind just to give it a shot, see if it'll work, but instead he goes for that. I mean, there's a chance, had he actually just flashed in spider form to just Q him, you get the kill right there.
Yeah, it feels like you're supposed to throw the Cocoon and then flash after the Corki, perhaps. But good reactions, at least, from a Blaze Olive. Doesn't even have to burn the Summoner, just TP's back to lane after taking a recall that he wanted. Anyway, is now back with a Hex Drinker, so some of that harass from Azir will be mitigated a little, but Soligo also doing very well in this lane, even in CS, and now going to TP back himself to keep the push going. With the Lost Chapter already completed, very easy for Azir to perma-shove these waves.
The good news for the Thieves is that they've got Someday building up a nice CS lead. There's a really big wave, and now you've got Elise going over to go for a tower dive here, level 6 Aatrox. They can do it, but look at what's in the map. Jarvan and Corki are going to collapse. Cocoon has missed.
Yeah, okay, I think that's going to call it off here. Spirit's Refuge pop. Someday is level 6, but doesn't help you with dives in quite the same way. Brandini is going to pick up what CS he can, as at least we'll take a recall.
Shen is not the easiest champion to tower dive, I'll tell you that much. His Spirit's Refuge is amazing, especially with the heavy physical damage that Someday brings.
Brandini, however, is pretty far behind in TS. Had about 11 to pick up when that dive started, so I think got denied quite a good amount of those with at least the pressure they were able to put out. So that part of the plan is going well. Sunday's 20 CS ahead of Brandini right now. But with those kills being traded, I think Gold's probably a bit closer than you'd expect. And as you can see, about 250, 300 between the two top laners, which is just fine for the Shen at this point.
So interesting to see that the vision for both teams is quite defensive. You've got 100 Thieves, whose control wards are around the bottom side so that the bottom doesn't get dove, and TSM around the top side. But this dragon has been started under vision, and a fight is going to break out. TSM does have the Shen ultimate, but Sunday's looking to interrupt it.
Starts stealing all the honey fruit treats there. Does get a knockup, but is forced to flash away. He's only level 4. There's the Stand United. Soligo goes in. Dragon over to Speaker, but now they got to get out of there. Soligo diving in and already dead, but he did take out the jungler to at least get a trade.
That was really close. I think 100 Thieves just barely missed out on being able to get a steal and even more out of that. However, they have a big lead for Someday now. 37 CS up, and Shen didn't even pick up a kill out of that. He just got an assist, so not the greatest move out of him, losing out even more plates. This is setting up Someday to be a big-time carry. Luckily, TSM did get an Ocean Dragon, which is going to help out their wave clear in the mid-game really well when you've got a Corki and a Sivir, but no one else is damaged on this team. You've got a Shin and a Jarvan who are useless on their own. They need the carries. So this is going to be all about the late game for TSM at this point.
I mean, Treatsy tries to go on Ezreal there, but Prismal's just not really in danger. And from there, have to commit the ulti to try and save the Rakan.
And you might have liked to have seen the ultimate on maybe the Jarvan, because he offers engage after Treats has already used his, so maybe there was an opportunity to go on that. I think, however, the play looked a little bit too forced and not enough forethought behind it, so that's why they wasted that time and lost out on 3 plates in the top lane. But hey, you got the dragon. It's a matter of now making it work, so it's up to Corki and Sivir to make the most out of that Ocean regen.
It's been one of the long time kind of quirks of Shen, I feel like, is that even though the ultimate says it gives you a shield, which it does, it is not really a good defensive ability. You really want to use that one to make an offensive play.
Yes. That's the lesson every single time, and this is an offensive play.
That was sweet. Soligo with a really accurate ulti, but Blaze Olive with the package, just unstoppable Valks out of there.
Oh yeah, and here we go. Jarvan and Shen, again, they can't kill Someday together. I'm pretty sure you can just walk out. There's not enough damage, and there's purely defensive itemization on both of them. So the chances of burning him are slim to none. All this time up here, purely defensive. They need to be looking for how do we now extend the advantages that our carries are going to have, because we need them late game. It's got to be Sivir. You got to help out your Corki. Everywhere else, you got to sack it.
And Tactical does have a nice lead for himself there in the bottom lane. Currently up 12 CS, about 10 though, as they'll still keep trading minions back and forth. Someday into the jungle, 2 levels ahead of Speaker. Managed to take out the ward and then look for some aggression. Again, I think in pure 2v2, 100 Thieves still firmly in the driver's seat here. In fact, this is a 2v1. Brandini, not a good spot for him to be in right now.
Jarvan is moving up top. He has a completed jungle item. I think 100 Thieves can actually go for him. He's trying to prompt Brandini to burn some spells, because the lower he can get him, the better chance of this dive going well. Look at Elite still lingering around. Everyone's trying to make a play in the top side.
Yeah, Blaze Olive also looking to roam up. Does not have the package anymore to make that roam that much more efficient, but still able to clear the wave and push pretty aggressively as Someday continues to roam up and meet with his jungler. Speaker is starting to get heavily pressured on this top half of the map.
He's responding to it. He is acknowledging what's going on, and Brandini's ultimate is available, so there is an opportunity to be aggressive here.
Yeah, Rocket missed there from a Blaze Olive, but it didn't really matter because they needed the engage to really make it work. Treats roamed up to try and get a kill mid, which was a good thought, but does leave Tactical vulnerable there in the 1v2. So they're going to have to play back as TSM look for the Rift Herald.
And this is an odd Rift Herald play because they don't have pressure top. Someday can always collapse and win this fight. I think TSM needs to leave here. Corki can shove out the lane just as fast as Azir does. This seems like a very dangerous proposition.
Hoping that maybe having Treats here first is enough. There's the combo after the taunt there from the Shen, and Someday getting low over the top. Speaker goes, but the blast plan, I believe, gets Someday out of there. No, actually just zipped out as Speaker tried to use the Cataclysm. Now the rest of 100 Thieves are here. TP up now from Tactical as TSM committing 5 for this Herald. Good Cocoon, flash ulti in onto Treats. Good stopwatch there from the Rakan, and it dives back down after the repel. Here's Someday though, TPing back in. TSM looking to re-engage with Soligo with a massive ulti. His stunt does fall to Tactical, but Someday shredding them to bits in the back line, but he's got no ulti. He gets taunted by Brandini, taken out by Tactical as Soligo able to clean up another kill for himself. TSM not enough health to continue the fight. Soligo and Prismal still just trying to find a few more kills. There's a shutdown over onto the Aziris. He just collected so much gold.
That fight looked like it could have been either way. Mechanically, it was very intense. You had Shen getting a nice little flash taunt, specifically Soligo's who I'm looking out for. But it all started with Someday being very greedy. He used his dash on that initial Q, so he was already in a position to be caught out. TSM pulls the trigger right away, and they just barely miss out on the opportunity to take him down. So he does a really good job of flashing out of the Cataclysm damage, which would have certainly done him in. And then Saber TP is saying, we really want this Herald play. We want to commit. And look at what Stunt does. A very nice combination of Cocoon into the Glacial Fissure. Unfortunately, they're not able to really finish him in. And Soligo, while he does do a nice job of repelling to buy time for Someday to get in, he gets hit with a really nice taunt that buys just enough time to take him out and prevent that chase from being complete disaster for TSM.
I feel like, as you said though, the TSM damage deal is a few in this team comp. And you can see what happens when they can't really get involved in the fight. 100 Thieves able to win the back end pretty handily, despite a bit of greed from Sunday, and that will convert into their first Drake as well. They pick up a mountain here.
Yeah, TSM needs to know that their late game is where their win condition lies now. You need that Sivir and you need that Corki to hit probably just a 3-item power spike. I'm talking Infinity Edge, Rapid Fire Cannon, Trinity Force Corki, Essence Reaver IEPD out of a Sivir. Like, that's the DPS you need to really obliterate the 100 Thieves carries, because Azir's not going to buy any defensive items, and neither will the Aatrox. So the second that the damage is actually very lethal in a matter of seconds is when TSM can just go anywhere and do whatever they want, because they have just enough smoke to actually match Azir and Ezreal on their own, because you do have Corki and Sivir who offer a great deal of poke as well.
And with a good Cocoon there, just sees Brandini. Sunday coming down, and Brandini forced to blast cone the other way to try and get out to safety. No jungler to speak of. Speaker himself is in the top left of the map right now, so this blue buff will be given over by the looks of things.
There's a big lead in the bottom lane. Sorry, top lane now for 100 Thieves. Almost double the CS. And they're okay trading that turret, because it would be the first turret for anybody in this game. And in exchange for a Rift Herald beyond 14 minutes, you're not getting plates. So it's not a big deal that you're trading this objective. At this point, this is a positive trade for 100 Thieves. However, that Rift Herald, if it goes mid lane, that's when trouble really starts, because you want to hold on to the mid laners up against heavy siege comps as long as possible.
Looks like J4 is going top lane, so we'll see where he chooses to drop it. But looks like they have enough right now between the Sivir and the Jarvan. Plus a bit of help from Trees to take down that turret. So at least equalizing there, but as you mentioned, Someday continuing to get further and further ahead in his 1v1.
Same
and
spider.
Wrap around.
No flash on the Blaze Olive.
Does have Valkyrie playing over to the Raptor pit, does get out of there, but plenty of pressure here on the mid outer turret. Might just take it out here, even with the Corki present. Tree's gonna have to come into defense. Beaker does the same. And looks like 100 Thieves maybe pulling away from the push. Prismal's gonna stay for now.
So now there's another dragon coming up, but this is an ugly one. It's the Windrake, which is good, it's useful, but it's not worth trading turrets. It's not worth losing out on gold that can get you ahead. So I think that 100 Thieves is going to trade for this objective and keep Someday in the top lane, make sure that he gets that tower, because that tower means that he can have more pressure up there. That transitions into Baron, and that Baron is a real threat when you have a Mountain Dragon at 20 minutes.
Well, I actually like this counter push from TSM. Just going to charge the Herald up, as you mentioned, and try and take down the turret. 100 Thieves here with a really good response. Just moving quickly to make sure the turret doesn't fall. And as you said already, Crumbs, without plates, that really isn't much at all.
Right, it's really like Soligo roamed for a little bit and then lost some turret shots. That's about it. So a nice collapse out of them. And now it's up to TSM to start reshaping their lanes. That dragon is going to be coming up. Shen has no business being in the bottom side of the map. He needs to be top side so that he can teleport to his allies.
Meanwhile, Someday only getting stronger. We've talked a lot about his individual leads, but he's closing quickly in on 2 completed items. Looks like, I imagine Death Dance will be coming up second, but had that Black Cleaver at pretty record pace as the Blaze Olive was up top lane.
You gotta go
To
Death.
farm a little bit.
Yeah, that's a great spike for him. Ooh. At 3 levels down Elise against a Hex Drinker Corki, this is not a match.
Well, gonna try it at least. Good amount of damage already done. His Stand United to Blaze Olive. Happy to try and fight it out. There's Brandini though, and it gets popped by the rocket. Solgo in, pushes one back. That's Brandini into the mix as he's forced to flash away. Someday over the top. Brandini with a nice little move forward, but still gets knocked up with a second Q. Cocoon follows, and that's the kill. Over to Someday as Speaker gonna dive in, but a good juke out there. The TSM still trying to fight it out. Tactical's roamed up, stunt low, but not dead as Someday needs the ulti reset, but hasn't grabbed it just yet. He's popped the world into trying to find the chase down. Will force the flash out of Tactical.
100 Thieves really binding the great collab.
Ooh, what a snipe!
That was a really good cleanup, actually. That basically trades everything evenly. That's a 1-for-1 after that. That kill is a big deal because now 100 Thieves can't just say reset right away, get first back on the map. They're actually going to be last on the map with their support, the guy that's supposed to be dropping down that vision. So 100 Thieves, yes, to secure that vision, but they're not going to be on time for that dragon. Let's take another look at how this went down. So a Blaze Olive, he does face check and get put to half, but his Hex Drinker has yet to pop. And with the Shen ult, he should be strong enough to take down the Elise all on his own. But they're a little bit lackadaisical in getting out of here. The flash used up here, and he kind of walks back. Not sure what the direction was because the rest of TSM is collapsing, thinking maybe you were here before that, so they did not expect that 100 Thieves would be there. And Treats, while he was looking for a godly engage, nobody would have followed up. It doesn't matter had he actually connected that ultimate or not. There was no damage to go through, so hey, he might be counting his blessings that nobody was there to take him out as he overextended for the CC.
And after all that, Someday took the top outer turret, and 100 Thieves will get that win Drake you mentioned. Moving that Drake count up to 2 versus 1. Death Dance also now completed for Someday. He's rapidly pushing towards the tier 2 in bot lane. Feels like this Aatrox is just such a big problem. Not to mention the 2 items here. Solgo is now powered up to those first 2 full items. TSM still trying to defend this mid-outer turret, but the siege is so strong, and Someday himself just gonna knock down this turret. I mean, Brandini can't do anything.
He's just so good at taking down towers, especially with Demolish. It's Grasp of the Undying Aatrox, so he's a great lane bully, lots of sustain, even more HP because the cleaver builds into it. And then every single proc, bam, he's taking down your objectives. Now he's got 2 turrets, actually 3 all on his own. And 100 Thieves, with his help, should easily make it into a 4th when the mid lane turret goes down.
And you can see that TSM know they need to try and do something, but weren't able to find an angle there in mid lane. The rest of the Thieves doing well to play defensively and let Someday kind of work his magic there in the side lane. And the pressure's continuing now. It's Someday that's roamed up to mid. Mid outer turret not looking particularly healthy. Brandini can join, but he has to TP. He doesn't have his ulti right now. So that tower falls down. Speaker tries to find the knockup, gets Soligo, but gets knocked back there. Treats again, looking for the re-engagement. Stun with an amazing glacial fissure. It's going to make him pay. Now Speaker caught in the front side. Going to get reset on by Someday.
And if you don't put everything you've got in your engage, it's not going to work out, and that's what happened. Spica goes in. They weren't really too sure if that engage was going to be the engage they needed to or not, and when you play with fire post 20 minutes, you really get burned.
Yeah, Baron looking to go down here. TSM can try and find a look in, but too late to try and contest for the Baron. Brandini gonna eat some Qs there from Prismal. And Blaze Olive back down with the TP and the package, but only really going to be fast enough to try and take down this turret. Pretty poor consolation prize, given how handily 100 Thieves won that last fight.
So take a look at what's going on, because a Blaze Olive is clearly not on this page. He's just walking over the Raptor ward when Tactical uses his Sivir ult to disengage, by the way. So Prismal dodges out, and this should have been the sign, pull out. You don't even have the Shen ultimate. That's a 4v5. Hey, you engaged 3v5. How on earth were you going to win this fight in the first place? I mean, whew, I wasn't seeing it. I want to see through his eyes.
Well, 100 Thieves punish accordingly. They'll take the Baron, they'll rocket that gold lead up to almost 6k ahead. And probably going to get a lot worse here for the TSM side. Should be able to siege down quite a few turrets with this Baron on.
TSM's sole goal here should be give up both inner turrets. Give them up, absolutely. If it's a matter of living or dying, you give those up and you just try to save the base inhibitor turrets. Those are really the ones that matter the most to you. If they can get away with that, then it's going to be a successful Baron defense. Otherwise, the siege for 100 Thieves then becomes way too easy for them to threaten inhibitors and then start to slowly snowball with those mountain dragons and potentially the next Baron.
Yeah, between the Israel and the Azir, they were already doing a good job sieging. Elise as well can add a lot in poke situations. So TSM forced to give up the tier 2 in mid. But as you said, Crumbs are looking to defend those inhibitor turrets. That's kind of the gold standard right now. As Sunday making quick work of the top tier 2 as well.
They're already at 2 items, and we discussed that the power spike they're looking for is 3. They really need that third one. Sivir is strong now, but she needs that attack speed to really make sure that her deeps goes through the roof. Same thing with that Corki. Looking for that Infinity Age as well. Let's see if the wave clear is good in mid, though. Corki just arrived.
Yeah, Stun just putting up the wall, actually opening up a lot of space for Soligo and Prismal to deal damage to the turret. Still have a little bit of time left to siege. Baron is on for a few more seconds, I think. And Someday is just unstoppable in this top lane. I mean, he's Flame Horizon Brandini after getting first blooded.
I think Brandini has given up on looking for CS once he started falling behind, which was after that teleport play. But the top lane inhibitor turret has now gone down, threatening that tower, and there's no one that can go address him, because the only way you take down Someday with his build now is if you have a carry. But if you give up a carry, then your other side is completely weak, because that's your entire comp. It's a 2-carry composition, which is just so rare nowadays because the execution has to be near perfect.
And you can see that Sunday is just causing a massive headache here in top lane. He'll escort those Baron minions in, he'll take down the inhib in top pretty much by himself, and that's going to be enough threat to force them off the mid lane as well. Sunday over the wall with the dash. Trees trying to find a play. Does get eliminated pretty quickly, gets out actually. Speaker able to dive in with the Cataclysm, but they need to get the carries involved. The Blaze Olive can't walk through the Azir, he's just too powerful. Someday forcing Tactical Splash as well.
Look at how close that was, though. They're so close to being able to just destroy 100 Thieves if they actually get the right engage. Brandini still had his flash up. Maybe there was an opportunity to go for a flash taunt there. If there was, it doesn't matter. There's going to be one in the next go around. So let's see how this fight began. So a charm hits Khan and Anda. Let's see where the Shen appears. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he could have. Did he not? He must not have had it then, because there was a beautiful opportunity there to go for a taunt flash that maybe would have been able to be followed up through by Sivir and the Corki. Well, we won't know until we watch his LCS Pro POV to check out if he had the cooldown available.
Oh my goodness, Someday is so strong. 4 levels ahead of Speaker, already grabbed the chain. One more auto's gonna do it. Goodbye, Jarvan. It's just gross.
Ooh, and he even stopped that taunt mid-Q, actually.
Somebody's a pretty good player, as it turns out. Brandini going to be pulled back. Someday just continuing to apply solar pressure. He's like 1v3 under this turret. Now going to have Tactical pop the ulti into stopwatch. He goes. Here's the rest of the reinforcements. Somebody going to turn on the World Ender. Now going to go back in. Looks for the flash play. Doesn't quite find it. Goes down to Tactical. Maybe a misstep there as Brandini able to grab the next kill. 100 Thieves forced to turn tail and run stunt. One auto away. Last Rocket's going to do it as a Blaze Olive able to pick up that kill onto Braum. Now Prismal and Anda running away. They will get out. So a couple kills for TSM. They're buying precious time.
That was the throw they were looking for. Going into flash all the way into the tower. Sunday didn't even have his passive up, thinking that, oh yeah, we're going to be able to take them down right away. But TSM responds accordingly, and we're going to first look at how it all started with the solo kill onto Spica. I want to see the last thing at the very end, because did he have it? Maybe if he just waited a little bit. Oh well. Here, the collapse begins, and the taunt flash from Brandini is really what we want to look out for. That's what we highlighted in the last replay, which I believe was the play that actually ended up buying them enough time so that the Corki collapses here, because Corki's making it all the way down. Let's see. Oh, no. Oh, yeah. There it is. Gets Oligo right in there.
From there, easy to play cleanup after that. No ulti reset there for the Aatrox. No real way for 100 Thieves to do anything else. The question, though, is how much is it going to matter? TSM still with 2 inhibs down. Yes, Baron has one off, but actually the buff has respawned for them to try and take in. Someday is still working on this bottom inhibitor turret.
I think it quite matters. It's just a matter of, can you stall out Someday? Can Someday not destroy the base all on his own? And I think as long as Brandini is there, you at least buy a lot of time because you can taunt him under the tower and use that tower to your advantage like you did at level 2. But with Baron being available right now and a Mountain Dragon with an Elise and an Azir, 100 Thieves can just take that in a matter of seconds, and TSM will not have the opportunity to clear out that vision. They would have to group up and pull the trigger just so darn fast. And I just don't think they're going to make it. Look at how fast this Baron's already going down.
Yeah, I think
100 Thieves.
I think they've made the decision to give it up regardless. As you mentioned, can't really get out the challenge, so 100 Thieves will wear Baron once again, looking to make sure this siege is the one that pushes all the way to the Nexus.
Their damage is there, right? You got a 3-item Sivir. She even has that anti-heal in the Executioners. Corki building his next one too, so they're definitely strong enough to win a fight. It's just a matter of, can you CC the right people and can your carries be dishing out damage consistently? Because if they can, then definitely TSM is more than equipped to make a comeback here.
You're also playing maybe more PvE than you would like in this situation with the super minions and the Baron buff. So 100 Thieves don't have to do much but wait and try and siege down these turrets. If TSM want to find a fight, and they probably need to look for one right now, they're going to need to go sooner rather than later.
Here we go. The Braum shield is down, so there is a slight opportunity here.
I mean, are they going to look to defend this last inhibitor? Tactical pops the ulti, but Brandini forced to peel off to get the minions who are about to catch the top Nexus turret.
That's a very loose use of Sivir ultimate because now any other engage that would actually look like a better opportunity is not going to have that Sivir ultimate, so it's going to be a lot harder. This is surely going to be probably 3 inhibitors and the game-ending push for 100 Thieves. Otherwise, why would Stunt teleport in?
Yeah, have to agree. See if they can finish it off here. TSM again, kind of running out of opportunities to try and make a play. Stunt going to put up Unbreakable once again. Super Minions actually cleaning up the rest of this inhib, and TSM too late to save it by the looks of things. That Baron cannon going to do the work. Speaker looking for Soligo, forces out the ulti, Treats finds him on the backline with the combo, but not really much else he can do. He charms onto Anda. Blaze Oliver and Tactical still need to get into the fight. Stench United in onto Treats. Speaker out of there. Brandini doing what he can. Does get out with the ulti. It's Redemption. Looks to reset the health bars, but now they got to worry about everything. They've got no cooldowns. They've got no Nexus. By the looks of things, I mean, the Baron minions are doing enough for the work that TSM are running out of things to defend.
Got to clear that base, and now they only have 1 turret to their name.
Tactical getting chunked, puts up the spell shield. Now he's vulnerable again. Speaker has Cataclysm. Tactical's got his ult back up. He's gonna pop it. Seems like more like a bluff than anything else. 100 Thieves just unrelenting in their pressure. Gonna take down this other Nexus turret. Gonna look for the Nexus itself. Brandini on the other side does get himself cocooned up, but TSM still fighting to the bitter end. But I don't think it's going to be enough. The Nexus vulnerable. Prison able to take down Truth. 100 Thieves should be able to finish everything off. Soligo takes down Speak, and the Thieves take down the Nexus.
That end game push looked all too easy. The minions doing all the work, and that's smart play, using that Baron to make sure that all 3 minion waves are super empowered. You don't have to do a whole lot when you're in that checkmate position, and 100 Thieves showed us just why.
Yep, managed to, remember the last 3 moves in the sequence and then correctly move their pieces around the board to finish it off.
Well, I gotta say, on the side of TSM, Shen is a very difficult champion to play because it's not an individual champion, it's a team. Every single player has to understand what it's like to play with Shen, how you call him, how you utilize his presence around the map. So there's a lot that goes on into making sure that this champion is played well. And I think they were learning that, well, taking a deep dive into it right away, off the deep end.
But you said that we were looking for the top side here for 100 Thieves, and explosive it was. They take the lead here at that first Herald fight.
This fight was wild. It started off with TSM really forcing the matter here after almost taking down Someday, who is now going to rejoin the fight, teleporting into the top side of the map. So while the carries stall out and buy enough time with a really nice Emperor's Divide, Shen Brandini hits a really crucial taunt that catches Someday, gets him out of the fight, and gets the rest of the team safely out. But they still lost quite a few in that.
Yeah, Soligo is certainly known for his Azir. I mean, not just a good pick to take away from a Blaze Olive, but also one that he's very adept at piloting. So I like the comp they put together, and I certainly liked more how they played it. We'll have a look, though, at how they extended that lead as they fight in mid that leads to Baron here. 100 Thieves again. It feels like when they got a lead, they just never let it go.
And this was a nice little gift out of TSM because FLICKR goes for an engage in a 4v5. Clear, there's 4 people on the map on your lane, and there's 5 in the other. This really is that ARAM meme coming to fruition where you engage 4v5. Shen didn't even have the ultimate up. No matter what, no matter how you spin it, that was a bad time to engage.
And for all the effort Tactical put in on the Sivir, he did have a lead individually, was not enough to overcome the pressure that they have to have felt in the top lane, and are back on the aggressive champion Someday on a top-tier top laner, just taking over versus that Shen. I mean, TSM tried something. Shen is, as you said, a difficult champion to play, not only as a team, but also in most 1v1 situations, and I think 100 Thieves really made them pay.
And I can see why you want to go with Shen. You see the Aatrox and Elise, and you want to play defensive. You want a champion that's not going to hard feed in the lane, and to Brandini's credit, that didn't happen. He held it down. The problem is when you pair him with the Jarvan, then you completely lack options. You typically want your Jarvan with someone like a Rumble, a Vladimir, an Aurelia, CC that also has a lot of damage so that you can consistently win 2v2s. Shen Jarvan, pure utility. The top side of the map is completely conceded, and the 100 Thieves exploited it.
Well, certainly did well there. We're headed for a break though, but when we come back, it is Golden Guardians Academy versus Optic Academy. Don't go anywhere.
You're strong enough to gank, and you get yourself a little Scuttle Crab as well, so it's all good.
Brandini, that's a solo kill! There's the Stand United. Soligo goes in, dragging over to Speaker, but now they got to get out of there. TSM looking to re-engage with Soligo with a massive ulti. His stunt does fall to Tactical, but Someday shredding him to bits in the back line, but he's got no ulti. Gets taunted by Brandini, taken out by Tactical. Gets knocked back there. Truth again, looking for the re-engagement stun with an amazing glacial fissure. Is going to make him pay, but I don't think it's going to be enough. The Nexus vulnerable, Prison level to take down Truth. 100 Thieves should be able to finish everything off. Soligo takes down Speak, and the Thieves take down the Nexus.